There, did I do it right, I hope? I hope. I'm not sure. Hi, I hope that you can hear me and see me simultaneously. And it's already recording and the audio's going and Shannon's back. Shannon, hello dear. Are you with me? Can you hear me? Shannon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yay, it worked this time. I just needed to sign off and back on. Hey everybody, this is Beth Zimmerman, High Priestess for Guild of the Gods, here with my co-priestess Shannon with the Guild of the Gods. I love her so much. She's like this close to being her own High Priestess. I'm very excited about this. Very, very excited. Like she's already doing a lot of the work involved too, so don't misunderstand the finalization of it. Like I wore that title for a while before it was official. She's already basically there. It's part of you being co-priestess, I think, Shannon. Yeah. So hi everybody. I was saying the first go round when everything did not work right. I would love for my weekly classes to stop being quite so autobiographical. The Dear Diary setup of them is not my favorite thing, because when I set up this class last week, I went, oh no, I just picked the topic of imperfection and how to control your reactions. That means if I'm a week ahead of everybody on the curriculum, I get to figure that right now. And yes, the fates and the universe as a whole was pointing and laughing at me apparently all this week. If anybody is ever looking for some good advice in life, do not set yourself up for that lesson. It's very uncomfortable. But let me give you some hints and pointers now that I've survived. Good times, great oldies. Let me try and aim this a little better so you have a chance of seeing anything other than like my shoulders, if possible. Nope, it's just gonna fall at me. That's funny. Okay then, maybe, no. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna give you a motion sickness. I'm the worst, I apologize. I'm not trying to, I promise. I just want to move my little aimer bobber so that it works better, and it's not working. I feel like I should just do all of this wrong.
Nice term.
Ta-da! I stuck the landing. What were you saying, Shannon? I'm sorry.
Nice term, aimer bobber.
Aimer bobber, I know, I'm fancy. Now that's one of the things, I almost actually signed into this meeting while I was putzing around the kitchen getting some tea, just so I wouldn't keep everybody waiting and I could be like, hey, hello, chillin'. But instead I decided to wait until I had my bed, my bedroom, my cat, my pretty window behind me, all these things worked out. One of these days I'll master the art of looking like I am a full professional. But in the meantime, and in general, you guys kind of all get to see someone who's just a person. And some people say that's my strength, and I kind of hope they're right, because otherwise I'm just really disappointing people a lot. Which is where we come into imperfection, ladies and gents. I have had a theory for a decent while now that when, let's go ahead and get this to focus in on me so that it's not just giving you a black outline. Maybe this will work better. Look, you can see me now. Hey guys, I'm in focus. So here's the deal, right? We should trust each other, period. We should. Like, it's a really good rule of thumb to have. As human beings, we should all trust each other. But there is this thing where we all know it's not wise to trust people you don't know yet, right? It's just, duh. It's the guy on the corner. Here's the thing, though. Why do we say that it's not wise to trust the guy in the corner? Like, I'm not asking this just recreationally. Really think about this for a second. Shannon, you're welcome to jump in with any answers on this. The reason you don't trust the guy on the corner is because, can you trust him with your kids? Can you trust him with your home? If you loaned him your car, would he give it back? Does he have any investment? Think about this. Whoever's watching this at whatever point in time, I want you to think about that concept for a minute. Because we then act like if we get to know someone, we have to either trust them with all the things. I don't know what that actually means. A lot of us use that terminology, and we're a little bit confused. Like, even if, think about it, if you ask, do you really trust them, and you ask somebody like, well, what does that mean? Most people will flounder. They'll kind of go, I don't know. It's just a word. Like, it's a term. You know what I mean? Okay, or there's a third option, and I like this one, right? We can trust someone according to their nature. Most people are not going to screw themselves over, but they might screw someone else over if they're not part of, me and mine and us. And it's not because they don't love you or me or whomever. Hold on, I just realized something. I'm actually going to pause what I was saying for just a minute, because I just realized that I should actually put a comment in our discussion for this event so that people besides Shannon have some idea that we got the technical difficulties worked out. We got, ever tried to type sideways? I don't know why my screen's not rotating, but technical difficulties worked out. You're welcome to join us whenever you're free. Okay. And I'm going to publish that, and I'm going to go back to this. Hi, guys. Shannon, did you lose me while I was fiddling?
Nope.
Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there was a chance everybody could know what was going on. I'm very sorry. I hate technical difficulties, but it's a COVID world. Nothing's the way it used to be. And even when it was the way it used to be, there were still technical difficulties.
I think the technical difficulties may have been on my end, but I'm not positive.
I'm not sure, honey. And what sucks is when there's only one person in the class and I'm told there's no sound. If I don't believe it, I could end up wasting my time in a recording and all kinds of other things.
Well, because my volume bar on my computer volume was in just above half, right? So I should have been hearing sound, except I saw a little X by my sound. So once I clicked on it, I could hear sound again. So it may have been me.
Oh, no. And honestly, I kind of needed a distraction. Today's been rough. Did I mention that this is not the lesson? Oh my God, every time I turn around, it's like all of the focus goes away. I have to just adjust. Here, guys, it's gonna look like I'm sitting on my bed because, well, I am. But it's a much better background and the light is much better if I just do this. So you guys will get to talk to me on my bed. I hope you don't mind. So yeah, there's this third category. Like, you can trust somebody without giving them your car or your bank card or your kids, right? People do it all the time with their bank teller. I keep adjusting that, sorry. They work with their bank teller. They don't give them their kids. They will give them their personal details, and they know that the bank teller is going to be careful, right? You trust your preschool teachers with your children, but you don't give them your bank card, because that would be like multiple levels of inappropriate. And also, you already know that they can take care of your children. Someone's done a background check and stuff, right? Someone's hired them and watched them in the field. Okay, we do this all the time where we trust people according to their own nature. And that's what I was getting at. Trusting the world as a whole according to its own nature is not a bad thing. And this is the lesson I always took from the tale, which I'm assuming everybody's heard this tale of the scorpion and the frog, but just in case, I'm at least going to sum it up, and probably in my I said somebody messaged me something that by itself made no sense. Sorry for the look of confusion and the weird pause. So even though probably anyone who's watching this video is going to have heard this, I'm going to risk repeating this. The frog was swimming down the river, or was about to cross the river. The river was flooding, and the bank was going away, and he really needed to just go ahead and get across to where there was safer ground. And the scorpion chilling there is like, dude, I'm gonna drown. Can I get a ride, please? And the frog's like, dude, you're gonna get wet, because you're gonna get wet. And you're gonna get scared, because you're gonna get scared. And then you're gonna stab me in the head with your stinger, and we're both gonna drown. I'm gonna die of the poison, even though the water wouldn't kill me, and you gonna drown. And the scorpion's like, dude, why would I do that? I would die. You would die. That would be pointless. That would be stupid. He's like, yes, but it is raining and flooding, and it's going to splash, and you are going to get scared, and you're going to stab me in the head. I know this. Now, guys, a lot of times people skip this part. Scorpions, when they're jumpy, they stab with their tail. They'll stab like inanimate objects. It's really funny. You should look up videos of this sometime. If they see something like hopping and bopping near them and it scares them, they stab it. So if he's going to be in the water and the water's going to be splashing and the frog's going to be swimming, it's not like he's going to be sitting there, posh, relaxing. He's going to be like, I'm going to die. And so a lot of times when that story is told, it doesn't include the sheer screaming anxiety waves that realistically result from trying to ride on the back of a frog through a flood. Of course the scorpion gets scared. Of course the scorpion gets splashed. And he's not going to stab the water with his tail. That would be stupid. He's going to stab the frog. And the frog looks at him and says, dude, why'd you stab me? Now I'm going to die of your poison and you're going to drown in the water. And he's like, it's my nature. Okay, so when we get to know each other, there is this important part of reality that we all need to just kind of talk with each other about, okay? It's my nature is not a word that makes much sense, or a phrase, sorry, that makes much sense unless you and the people around you have, well, studied that nature. Does that make sense? I am imperfect. I am trying really hard to learn my own nature, and my ex-husband just wrote me about like whether or not we're going to finalize our divorce soon. I am imperfect, and I have strong days, and I have weak days, and today is a weekday because it's Wednesday. No, it just is. And see, my nature right now, and there's no way for me to do study sessions without being honest, and sometimes that just sucks because I do get a message like that that chokes me up in the middle of a class called How to Happy. But I want you all to know that you're turning to someone to teach a class called How to Happy who's going through a divorce right now and a career change and all kinds of things. I'm trying to tell you guys not how to avoid hurting. Shit hurts, yo. I've still got tears in my eyes because I happened to have read a message a minute ago. Instead, I'm trying to tell you guys how on a day like today, when I really almost canceled 15 minutes before the start time, I do this. I wipe away the tears so they don't like run off the makeup. I clear my sinus cavities so I stop sounding like I'm talking through my nose. And make disgusting noises because I'll be damned if being a woman means you can't be gross now and then. And then I get back to it and I focus on something that makes me feel better. Literally anything. Right now, I think that fan in the screen looks really like, doesn't it? Isn't it pretty? Like something that helps us redirect. Now, with all of that said, my nature right now, mine, that I live with all the time, I have to trust myself according to my nature. And so does everyone around me. Here's the thing. They can try and give me higher ideals than what my nature can live up to. They can. They can try and expect more of me than what I'm able to do. But the fact is, on a windy day that used to be overcast and quiet, and suddenly it's sunny and windy, I'm going to end up with a lot of clothes on the clothesline outside right now, knocked onto the ground. There's no way around it. I could go get a whole bunch of clothespins, but chances are it would just break the clothespins. And guess what? The clothes would still be on the ground. Right now, I am going to be a little bit less reliable than I was on some days, and a little bit more reliable than I was on other days, because I lost my job in engineering, but at the same time, I'm not doing my engineering job anymore. I have limitations to how much I can rely on myself. Shannon, are you still with me? Can you say something so I can make sure my volume's working?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Cool beans, thank you. So, you see, each of us is imperfect. And when I was talking about imperfection, I wasn't talking about other people or the world around us. No. It's learning how to live with the fact that this thing that I'm steering and that thing that you're steering, and whoever might be living a life who's part of this class at all, you have to learn how to live with the fact that you're not perfect and you never will be. And that's okay. Like, don't get me wrong, don't drown your friend the frog. If you're a scorpion who's going to get spooked in the middle of a river, just don't ask for a ride. You know, if you aren't sure that you're going to be able to spend every day chill and responsible and reliable, don't agree to help out with somebody's kids every day, because you just got to know better at some point. A lot of us are taught that we need to aim for some kind of perfection. And I blame Christianity, honestly, and I'm not trying to diss on Christianity. Honestly, I get along with Jesus very well. We're good buds. I get along very well with a lot of Christian guild members, actually, and many who aren't guild members who kind of want to be. And many who just are very happy being Christians, and that's just all there is to it. But there's this core concept that is very central to the American dream, which is we are supposed to recognize that we will all fall short of the glory of God, biblical quote, but we should try anyway and punish ourselves every time we fail. That just bounced because the cat just bounced. He's chasing something at the window. And if I knew that you could see the cat bouncing at the window, I would show you because he's cute. I'm drinking Earl Grey tea right now. Interesting fact, because it's not only probably very important phone call that I have to do. I am drinking it because it's got bergamot in it, which is a natural mood enhancer. Do you guys know what a natural mood enhancer is? It's wonderful. It's fantastic. It just takes your mood and helps it go, whoop. It was here. Now it's here.
Chocolate.
Chocolate also does, yes. Aim for the natural mood enhancers, y'all. On really rough days, anything that makes things better. And I've said it before, and I'll risk saying it again. An important concept in happiness is that you only have a limited number of hours in every day. There's only 24, and there will only ever be 24. So if you don't make some significant portion of those 24 hours positive, happy, relaxing, something, then you're going to be a stress ball. You're going to be tense. Because of course you are. Out of 24 hours, 100% of them are uncomfortable. Okay? So if you start sneaking in things like Earl Grey tea and keeping, my sweetie did this for me last night. He made me a candle with cinnamon and an apple. So that as the candle burned down, it made that apple and the cinnamon kind of waft into the air. It was wonderful. Probably going to put another candle in here. Do little things to help cheer yourself up. Hang up a beautiful fan above your bed. Get your yoga mat out and do some yoga and keep them close so you can cheer yourself up. Because not all days are good. And we need to be able to recognize where we are each imperfect. Not everybody else. A lot of the Christian mindset is like, that goes along with that specific verse that I specifically quoted. So please, again, don't assume that I'm dissing on anything that I am not referring to, okay? When we refer to this concept of we all fall short of the glory of God, but try anyway, we often assume that we're referring to other people's imperfection and our mission, our striving in life. And we should beat ourselves emotionally, destroy ourselves emotionally if we manage to fall short. Or we can go ahead and rearrange that. I can only be in 3 places at one time. On Saturday, I have an offer to, and I should let people know this. I have an offer to be in Fort Wayne in the evening, to stay the night at France Park in the afternoon and evening, and to go to Lafayette, Indiana, in the morning and also in the afternoon. So I have 4 plans in 3 cities at 4 different times. It does not work. There is no way that this very imperfect being can be in 3 cities at the same time-ish, and or go from one where I live to another where I don't live, to Logansport, to France, at France Park, to Fort Wayne for a bonfire, then stay the night at France Park. Ooh, that's a long day. Like, they're not all at the same times. That's nice, right? So we are all going to end up having struggles like that where we just can't we can't. Shannon, I love you. You have managed to weather through me for so long in learning the lessons of imperfection. Thank you. I hate this lesson plan. It is my least favorite part of it. And I cannot begin. You know what went through my head when I wrote this down as the subject. Like, yes, I should cover this, but so, dear diary, how does one learn imperfection in oneself? One has bills that one must strive towards. Speaking of which, I teach study sessions now, and if I can afford to take care of myself, then I can afford to take care of everybody else more. So I have started asking for pay, and it's not that I want to. Study sessions, I think, should be given freely. But a girl's got to eat, and it's a lot of my time. So I'm asking very politely for people to reimburse me for doing regular study sessions by video chat. I'm also happy to keep doing therapy and counseling, which I have been doing for years now. And again, I've never charged. But I am more reliable and I am more helpful as a counselor, as a therapist, if I am getting paid. The good news is I'm only asking $25 an hour, which is much less than anybody pays after insurance from what I've been hearing, like at all. This was actually a little bit shocking to me. I assumed somebody somewhere was paying significantly less than $100 an hour out of pocket, but apparently no. So I would like a nominal something. in exchange for being able to continue to provide study sessions and therapy and counseling that I've been doing for a long time. If you, yes, you would like to be involved in that, let me know. Because in the meantime, this imperfect lady has been trying to save up for rent. Second month of rent in the new place, and I got laid off right before I moved in. I did not imperfect, life imperfected. Part of the reason I'm talking to you guys right now and in a class right now, instead of working in engineering right now, is because I would have to work from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I would get paid for 9 to 5, but there's commute time, and there's getting ready time, and there's getting home time. I would have to have my kids taken care of from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I would have to basically sign off from most of my obligations or work straight through from the crack of dawn on, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure there's those of you out there who are used to dawn actually happening at 5 a.m. I am not her. But I would have to be doing it from my equivalent of the crack of dawn until probably midnight if I wanted to keep all of the want-tos in my life and all of the obligations. The good news is all my bills would be paid. The bad news is I would probably have a nervous breakdown in about 3 months. Or I can sign off from all of these things that I have been doing and focus on my day job and focus on my mental health. That's it. Those are my only options. Remember me talking about imperfection? It's either unreliable and stressful, or it's reliable but stressful. Life comes with trade-offs. You don't have to hate them. We don't have to hate them. If you're riding a bike, you're going to fall down. Oh, speaking of imperfection, I set this class topic a week ago, totally forgot about it because I knew otherwise it would make me crazy. What's the definition of imperfection? You guys all know there's many different definitions. How about a skinned knee? Yeah, that happened. I actually managed to skin my knee. And I also managed to blow out a tire. I skinned my knee by going for a jog in the morning because, yes, even at my age, I like to go for jogs in the morning if I'm having issues with my circulation. Aerobic exercise helps fix circulation issues. So I went for a jog with my baby, and my 8-year-old was with me when I didn't see a lip in the sidewalk. It was just off by like this much, and it was totally invisible, no marking on it. My toe clipped it, my body fell. I managed to catch myself with my hands. Look at this. I don't know if you can see, I managed to get myself kind of good. But I landed on my hands instead of my knees. So instead of having all my deep tissue bruised and this whole thing's purple and green and you can all see it clearly, no, I just skinned it and there's a light bruise and you probably can't even tell. You could tell on Saturday. I taught a class at Fort Wayne Pagan Pride Day. Actually, it was wonderful. Shout out to my peeps. I taught that class immediately after skinning my knee. Like I had ice out for it and never used it because I was prepping for the class. True story. So see, I got this lovely example of imperfection thrown at me while I'm going out and doing something that perfect people are supposed to do. We're all supposed to go for jogs and take care of our bodies and things, right? Ooh. And I went for a jog and fell. I also went up to Lafayette and took care of a whole bunch of work the night before, a whole bunch of very important things. Got to see a lot of my peeps. Shout out to the Lafayette Guild. I got to see some of my peeps there. And on the drive back, I was run off the road by a semi. Yes, into a wall. Yes, I'm fine because my dad taught me to drive like a boss. And yes, I have called him and to thank him. And I avoided the semi, but I got too close to the wall. But I stayed far enough from the wall that it was really kind of exciting. You know, the wall comes down and it has this footer that comes out, right? I managed to just hit the footer. And you can tell because it only knocked loose the siding or whatever the piece is, the panel on the exterior of my van. It only knocked off the one that was at the bottom of the side door. and it blew out my back tire in the most epic fashion. Absolutely unbelievable. And then, after it blew out my tire and knocked off my siding, it scuffed the back panel behind it and pushed me back into my lane. And I held that lane with the semi less than a foot on my left side and 2 children in the car and 2 bikes and a mattress in the car and all kinds of stuff going on. I was focused on the driving. And by the time the tires started going the flip, 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 the way that they do, I was already out of the construction zone. I pulled onto the shoulder. I called and got the help I needed. Important. I realized I needed to be able to make an actual police report so I could claim it on my insurance. Again, asking for the help I needed. I called a police officer who, by the way, it was the second accident that hour that he was taking care of. He actually moved from, like, I'm on the southbound lane. He was on the northbound lane, handling someone at the rest area over there who had just gotten into a car wreck too. Incredibly dangerous zone. He had no question that I had been run off the road. And he got the police report filed and I got everything turned in, and it has actually been very easy to take care of my imperfection because I happen to have a good insurance company and I pay them to take care of me on my imperfect days. Ever thought of insurance that way? I pay you to take care of me on my imperfect days. Isn't that nice? And they did, or at least they're trying to. I keep missing the phone calls from this body shop that I have to get my van into. Why? Because my life is busy, and most of my busy is at night. I've been giving readings through a website late at night. Great biz. Hard to do. Very hard. I don't like how hard it is. But I'm doing okay by it, and I'm working with a lot of people through the guild. And I am working my butt off, and it involves being up until like 2 in the morning working, and then winding down till about 3, maybe 4 in the morning, sometimes 5, and then trying to get up and help my kids with their schoolwork as early as I can get moving, and then trying to take care of all of my business, all of the business that's left, along with the kids and lunch and housework and life, between noon and 5. It involves a lot of imperfection, constantly. But I'm getting what I want. Most of the time, my life is really good. Most of the time, my life is so good that I am overjoyed, overwhelmed. Thank you, Shannon. A lot of falling downstairs. It's true. I've had so much falling downstairs lately, and almost all of it is the week after I told you all I was going to talk to you about imperfection. Here's the other half of what I was telling you guys, though. I'm checking the time just to make sure I'm a good girl and I'm keeping up with things. Yay, it's 3:46. Woo, we are on time. The second part of this that I'd originally typed up, it's not my favorite. Controlling our focus. When I got into the car accident on Friday, I was not focused on the car accident. I was focused on the fact that my 2 boys that were in the car with me, they slept through it. I controlled the car so well on the interstate in a construction zone being run off the road by a semi that my sons slept through it. Fucking A! I'm pretty sure I just earned a warrior badge. Like, and they didn't even know what had happened, not even after the cop came out. And I'd warned them that I had children sleeping in the car, please don't wake them. So he didn't have his flashies on, he didn't have his sirens on, not at the front, at the back, so we didn't get hit, sure. The boys didn't know what was going on at all until they were moved from my car into my beloved ex-husband's car and piled in with him so he could give us a ride home. And even then, the next morning, they didn't completely remember it, which was really funny, and I enjoyed that immensely. The next day, when I managed to trip and fall on a jog, my first jog in a new neighborhood, Bye, Shannon. I'll see you in 15 minutes. When I went on a jog the next day and I tripped and fell, I was signed in for a class I was supposed to teach within an hour. Oh my gosh, what time? I guess I went jogging at 2:30 and the class was at 3. So like really within half an hour. Because it was part of my prep time. Anytime you're jogging in a new area, there's a chance you're going to catch something and fall down. So instead of focusing on, oh my God, I am 39 years old and I just tripped on pavement and fell on my knee and my hands and bounced. Oh, by the way, distributing my weight the way I did, I was landing on my knees, so I put my hands out because I learned that lesson. Thank you to every stunt guy who's ever had a tutorial video. You've saved my ass. Literally, literally my knee this time. And I managed to not hurt myself. I managed to follow stunt coordinator instructions and bounce off the ground and roll into the grass. So when my 8-year-old son, who would have had to go home and get help if I landed full weight on my left knee, because let's be honest, if any adult falls full weight on a knee, they're gonna hurt and they aren't gonna be able to walk home properly. I would have been sending my 8-year-old home to get help. No. Instead, I did it right and I got up and it was okay. So I was proud of that. That's what I was focused on. So by the time I had to start my class, it was funny to me. I was focused on the meeting because I wasn't hurt. And I was joyous that I wasn't hurt because I'm learning how to use my body well. When it came to my rough week, most of it was okay because yesterday when I really needed to comfort my sweetheart, I did. And even though I needed to comfort him over and over and over and over and over again to be able to get through the day, he's worth it to me, so I did. And that's what I was focused on, that I want to help you have a better day. So I managed to keep my focus in a really good place. And even though it was a really rough day yesterday, I got through it. Remember that imperfection thing we were mentioning before? Today, when I got up after having, let's go ahead and list this out, wrecked my car Friday night after taking care of a whole bunch of work and picking up my babies. Then Saturday, I skinned my knee and I did both a workshop and a ritual. And then I managed to take the rest of the day off, but I was also doing work around the house. Then Sunday, I mostly took the day off, but I got a lot of work done around the house and online and whatnot. Monday was supposed to be my day off. I still got online and I managed to do some readings and I managed to get my life organized. I keep looking over at the clothesline that you guys can't see. It'll just look like a big window, a light box if I turn the camera that direction. But I've been doing laundry, I've been doing dishes, I've been cleaning up around the house every day for hours every day because I want to, because I like to. But I'm tired. If you guys are following all of this, it would be tiring. So yesterday when I needed to work, I ended up answering phone calls at 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning, even though I am imperfect in the way that I am up late. And the act of getting up and answering those phone calls left me so exhausted and sore inside that I almost ended up throwing up, and I was shaking and cold and miserable by the time I finally fell back asleep. And I had to miss a third phone call, which was also very important, who probably, I think, just tried to call me back while I was in this meeting. But I didn't have the ability to tell everybody, hey, I work thirds, I need to talk to you in the afternoon. It's just not an option a lot of places. That's part of my imperfection. Now, I can rage at it. When I realized I hadn't returned that phone call yesterday, I about screamed. When I realized how much I still had to get done yesterday, even though I had done so much, I about screamed. So today, when I finally did get up, And I make that sound like I slept in forever. I didn't. I got 6 hours of sleep 2 days in a row, and I'm feeling kind of rough. But when I got up and reset my life today, I was exhausted. And when I had mean, unsettling stuff thrown at me first thing, and no, I'm not going into that. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So I'm going to say something nice or nothing at all. This morning, though, when I had some mean, unsettling stuff thrown at me first thing, I was imperfect. I had 2 nights of 6 hours of sleep, and I felt wrecked. And I lost my shit for a while. It's been a really rough day for me. I still got my stuff done and taken care of. I still got on here, and please notice when I had technical difficulties, I didn't rage at anyone. I didn't stomp. I didn't storm. And I'm still doing my best to be in this meeting and not cry, although I came close, or treat it as some weird ranting and raving sit-down session. My goal every day is to be happy, even when life is mean. That's what I want for you guys too. I want all of us to be able to be happy, even when life is mean. We're going to come back to controlling our focus now. I lost control of my focus today. I did. No one else did. No one forced me to. I lost control of my focus because I was imperfect. And I will always be imperfect. I will always have some kind of weak spot or rough day. Something is going to come up for me, same as for all of you. So guess what I got to do today? I got to say I'm sorry. Because I want to focus on things getting good, getting better. Not on how much they are rough. I got to make different plans and let people know how hard I am working and what my different options are that I'm weighing in order to balance out what is the best overall option in my life. I got to let anybody see how much I'm actually doing, which if you are like me in this modern world, you never let anybody see how much you're doing. Either they'll scold you for not doing enough, or they won't believe that you've done so much, and either way it doesn't feel good. So I just show up and say, hey, how's things? And then I leave. If any of you would like to have an idea of what I'm up to every day, you can call and ask. You can shoot me a message on Messenger and ask. It's normally a lot. And I bet that all of those times I ask, what have you been up to? And you say, I'm fine, I'm good. You're doing the same thing. You're avoiding answering that question. You're avoiding answering, what have you been up to? Because again, either they'll tell you it's not enough, or they'll be like, oh my God, that's so much. They'll be overwhelmed. No, please, let's go ahead and make this a conversation, because we are all imperfect beings. And it's interesting. Like, guys, I could have avoided telling you that I took care of guild business in Lafayette, that I wrecked my car, that I have done a whole lot before I managed to wreck my car, that all I managed to do was blow out a spare tire. But now we're all, you know what's going on with me. You have some sympathy with me, some empathy with me. I feel more like a human being working with you. We are closer because of the honesty, even though you might be watching this weeks or months after the fact. You hear this, right? And I want to feel closer to all of you. So if you avoid the word fine, how are you doing today? Fine. I once had somebody tell me very wisely that that word translates to fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And almost every time I hear somebody say, oh, I'm fine, yeah, there's something going on that they're not talking about. It's remarkably consistent. Not a bad thing necessarily, but remarkably consistent. So the honesty side of it, man, you would not believe how many cashiers I've been in line with, and they're checking me out, and they're like, hey, how are you doing today? I decided I wanted to be able to give them an honest answer, so I started saying, been better, been worse, because they're both true. I have been better. I have gotten to watch the sunrise on the top of Mount Haleakala in Maui, the volcano that is Maui. Hi, honey. Welcome back. With my whole family, including 2 beautiful small babies who have gotten so much bigger since then, and my beloved ex-husband, who we were so close at that time, and it was wonderful, and we'd been through a real rough couple of years, but it was finally better. I have gotten to tour the full extent of Mammoth Caves with my birth mother, who is not my favorite thing, who was actually wonderful and caring about my likes and my interests and enjoyed taking me to see them. And we walked the entire route. And Shannon, I know you are laughing your ass off at this concept because, believe it or not, it's true. She had her good days. She taught me how to garden. She taught me how to do most of the things that are witchcraft. She just didn't know it was witchcraft at the time. And then she got mad at me for using the word. What else? I got to see all of Mammoth Cave myself in person, including the part where you had to carry lanterns with you when I was 10. This is like late 90s, or no, very early, very, very early 90s, when there was a lot more of it that wasn't lit than was. It was amazing and exciting. Okay, and it'd been worse. I went into the hospital with heart problems and found out, surprise, you're 2 months along pregnant, and lost my job the next day. Birth mother strikes again. that whole situation. There's a reason she only comes up sometimes. Sorry, guys. It's just a really weird story. Like, true. I'm not sharing PBIS. These are all major, like, headlines in my life. I was fired by my birth mother, who was my boss, and was kind of, oh, Shannon, I believe that. She just said they've done so much to the cave now. I miss the natural passages. I'm actually not disappointed I haven't been there in the last 20 years. Like, really, it doesn't even upset me because it's not what I saw as a kid. And I'm not sure if it should be, but it isn't. There's tolls on the way? Ugh. And they're hidden. Tolls? You mean they have tolls in the paths? Or tolls on the roads? On bridges. Interesting. Fascinating. So, when I say I've been worse, I have take a picture of your license plate and mail you the bill. Oh my gosh, you don't even know you're being told. TOLLED, sorry. That's surreal. Oh my God, is that legal? I don't know if that's legal. I bet someone out of state could easily challenge that in court if it was worth it for like $1.50. And it's not, so we won't, but still. Shannon says, we're never driving that way again. Yeah, that's why Waze has this lovely button that says avoid tolls. I love it. Not in Chicago, though. Don't do that in Chicago. It's dangerous to avoid the toll roads in Chicago, in my opinion. I've done it a number of times. I also managed to get a very expensive camera at a stoplight intersection. I managed to get an automatic ticket for having to run a yellow light that turned red. Yeah, it was, I haven't been able to contest it successfully, but they're never apparently going to actually track me down ever again. Who does that? It's so weird. They're going to issue you a ticket, hope that you pay it, and if you don't, that's cool. At some point, I'm paying $150 towards this ticket that was very expensive, but not today. And so you guys are hearing this, like, I've been through some shit, but I've also been through some amazing things that other people would beg to be able to get that t-shirt. They would love to be able to have that kind of a good day. And so when I'm going to check out at the grocery store, I end up being honest with people. If it's not better and it's not worse, I'm honest. And what's funny is, as I walk in to their line and I say, ha, I'm an imperfect person. How about you? And no, I'm not having a great day. How about you? They're like, oh my God, me too. It has been a long one. And we keep it polite because you don't want to just have a bitch session at somebody's place of work while they're working. That's not right on a couple of levels. But we'll sit there and have a real human conversation where everybody else is just, pardon me. Yeah, here's my customer number, here's my stuff, here's my cash, thank you, next. So for 5 minutes, maybe 10, depending on how much I'm getting, I get to be a real person. And most of the people that I've been checked out by seem to appreciate the fact that they can be a real person with me. And I'm going to be kind, and ask for more information because I care about them, because they're interesting to me. I can do that with someone checking out at the grocery store. Can I do that with my children when they disappoint me? Yeah, and I do. Can I do that with myself when I disappoint me? You guys all hear this. These are hard. These are hard things. Shannon says, I rarely ever just give the I'm fine answer because most of the time I'm not entirely right. So when we are hanging out together, we are hanging out with ourselves. And a lot of times we do not know how to get the bitch in the back of our heads to put down her megaphone or his and stop telling us how awful we are. And instead we end up spouting that bad shit. You're so imperfect. I can't believe you got into a car accident last Friday and then you skinned your knee. What 39-year-old skins their fucking knee? What's wrong with you? You have to rely on people to help you with your kids in order to do things in your life. And you have to ask the kids to do chores yourself because it doesn't seem like they do it if anybody else asks. And if nobody asks, they definitely don't. And what is wrong with you all the time? You're always doing all these things that are just so... Hold on. How many hours are there in a day again? Right. All of a sudden, that whole conversation sounds different, doesn't it? Out of the whole day, you only get 24 hours. Control your focus. And never mind the need for sleep. We don't need sleep, LOL, says Shannon. Oh my God, my life. No, that was actually one of the things I was just talking about. I was actually trying to figure out how I could get through my days with my current schedule, which I'm pretty good at, by the way. I'm doing okay with my current schedule. But I was trying to figure out how I could get through my current schedule every week successfully and manage to not have to have help with my children's. And the long story short answer to that is I get 5 consecutive hours of sleep a day while they're here. Or I can just admit that I'm imperfect and try and negotiate some way to accept help where it doesn't feel like I'm asking too much. Ooh, who heard that sentence? Try and ask for help in a way where it doesn't feel like I'm asking too much. Now, I want to be clear about something because I keep running into this lesson for the people around me. And it's hard. And I'm not sure how to exactly put it right because most of the people in my life who it applies to, I actually really love. And I don't have any problem with the fact that this is a constant part of the conversation. Because it's a constant part of the conversation for everyone I've ever met. Okay. If you don't tell someone that you need help and you don't ask someone to do the thing that you normally do, and they don't happen to do the thing that you normally do without having been asked, what is the most constructive way to resolve this? We're going to do a multiple choice thing, and I want everyone whoever ever in the history of this video watches it, I want you to weigh in on this, okay? There are some multiple choices. You can A, get very upset that no one else can see it's necessary and just takes care of it. You can B, get very stressed out that no one is covering for you and you're such a disappointment and everybody is constantly stuck being disappointed by you and just fall into a well of frustration. You can C, try and chill out and say, fuck it, whatever. Or D, you can look at the other people around you and say, hey, I don't have time to do this right now and it's bothering me. Would you mind? Because it would really help me out. That asking nicely, okay? Now, everybody think about what your answers should be, and now think about what the answers have been. Right. Shannon says usually a mix of A and C. That's okay. You are imperfect. I am imperfect. We all are. It's cool. But let's go ahead and try something different maybe. Hey, I'm tired. I just need help. I only need help in this one way, but I need it on the regular. And I'm going to take care of all these other things that you don't even have to know about if you can help me out on this one thing. Now, if somebody then looks at the one thing that you're asking their help on and they're like, man, you sure do ask a lot. Did they keep in mind there was a role reversal there? They are now looking at this situation and they've got their choice of answers A, B, C, or D. And they're choosing one too. So guess which one they've picked. If they're coming to you and saying, man, you sure do ask a lot. Man, you sure do need a lot of help. Man, you aren't very reliable, responsible, something if you need this much help. You might not ask what you've got going on. Not asking nicely thing might not be happening for them either. They might be choosing A or B or C out of the option. They aren't necessarily looking at you and saying, hey, can I take tomorrow off and not do that thing? Yeah, if they asked you nicely, you'd probably be like, yeah, absolutely, sure. But here's the other thing, okay? And this has to do with our personal well-being. So really hear this question because it's important. If you are in a situation, but they're just doing it myself, part of A. Oh, Shannon says, yeah. And see, sometimes you really can't do it, honey. Like you are not in the house, you're not at the location. Like you really can't. You can't do that and the other thing that you said you would do and you have to sign off. So it's much better if you can just nicely ask, hey, can you cover for me? Can somebody cover for me? And a lot of us have come from abusive situations or neglectful situations where we always felt like the problem in everybody else's world. We didn't feel like we were really welcome or wanted ever. I was absolutely certain for most of my life I wasn't wanted. Loved. Oh yeah, absolutely. Wanted? Like, maybe if I could just stop talking and sit off to one side politely, maybe then I'd be wanted. But if I kept leaking at the mouth with those sounds and opinions and things, then really no. Like, they need a freeze frame or maybe a commercial version. Like, 30 seconds of Beth and done. That's what a lot of us ended up being raised around, that, yay, you're here. And if you exceeded those 30 seconds, they're like, oh, no, honey, it's okay, go sit. Right, Shannon says they need a skip ads button. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I feel like I'm one of the ads. I'm never the YouTube video that a lot of the people that raised me wanted to see. I was always the thing in the way. So I struggle with this myself, and I know frankly, if y'all are here, you're probably freaks, nerds, and weirdos. We were all raised to have the impression that we don't quite fit, because we don't. Which means one of these is not like the others. One of these does not belong. Not one of these things is unique. Not one of these things is amazing and interesting. In any room of people, I look for the interesting and amazing and unusual. I have no interest in the people who are all identically the same. Shannon says I was invisible for most of my life, no matter how I tried. And this asking nicely for help thing, that comes with it. Because if you are taught all the time that you are not wanted, that you are the ads that people are getting out of the way, not the video they're trying to watch, then why on earth would they listen to you when you're asking for help? Why on earth would they want to help you? Why on earth would they even try? So we all know that the answer is no before we even ask. Why bother? Okay, I have a really weird concept for you. I'm going to flip the tables. You guys all have to hang in there with me. It's important, okay? You are doing all of the chores in your house that you have agreed to do, and maybe a little bit besides. We'll go ahead and list off an example scenario that happens to apply with me, okay? All right? You're doing laundry and dishes and straightening and meals for a big family of people, okay? You're taking care of it, not perfectly. We're all imperfect, but fairly well. I've got like 2 loads of laundry piled up and a third on the line and a fourth about to go into the washer, so I'm not exactly caught up. But I'm doing it, right? You're doing all of these things. You're straightening up every room that you're in better than you found it before you leave. You're doing all of the errands, most of the shopping, and you're earning a decent living and trying to make sure that you're doing better today than you did yesterday, every single day. You are not asked to do something at all, and then you are scolded for not having done it. You guys hear that, right? It doesn't have to hurt. It's not necessarily a punch in the gut. It's not personal. But I said, let's flip the situation, and I meant it. So let's go ahead and take a minute and think about this. You weren't asked to do a thing, and then you were told that you should have noticed, completed something. Out of the 18 hours of aware, conscious time per day that you're up, because you're only getting 6 hours of sleep a night, out of all of it, you're going and going and going and going, and you don't get a lot of breaks. But I want to put this also into a different perspective for you guys. It's all important. All of it. Whether it's the smile that you try to give to the clerk at the gas station, the $2 that you need for the Coke, I'm looking at you, Shannon, the Coca-Cola to help you like rebalance in the afternoon. Whether it's whether or not your bedroom's organized, whether or not you have a fresh cup of tea in your hands. Sometimes clerks really need a friendly smile, says Shannon. Yeah. Whether it's getting your car fixed after an accident before the insurance company starts throwing a tantrum that you're taking too long. And really, who am I hurting by waiting? But it's killing me that I'm not calling them. Why? Because they're trying to reach me. I don't know. Because I feel like I didn't expect this fast of a turnaround. Sorry. With all of the things that I already have on my plate every day, I am not getting all of my shit done. So if I'm not getting one thing done that I couldn't notice, that I didn't notice, I didn't know was getting missed constantly for days, I had no idea. I didn't notice. If I had been politely asked, Shannon, you know me. If I'd been politely asked, I would have noticed and I would have immediately done something. But I didn't know. How many of us have been there? Everyone I know has been there. And that's the point of this right here, this class that I'm in with all of you guys. That's the point. I'm not unique in this. Tomorrow, the roles in what I just said could completely reverse. And today they might have. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have enough perspective on today yet to be sure. You are always at some point going to be the asshole in the room. Especially considering, and this is important, I keep finding myself saying these phrases, there is never a good time to lose your shit, and everyone is going to lose their shit sometimes. I'm convinced that in every relationship, I'm not changing topics, I promise. In every relationship, Shannon's like, frequently, yeah, I love you. From one imperfect person to another. And her Coke, there it is. Yay, I reminded her. And now she feels better. And I'll raise my Earl Grey. By the way, if you mix an Earl Grey half and half with coffee first thing in the morning, it's called a dirty Earl, and it makes the whole day better. I've had days where I was cursing out the whole world and laughing about it after half an hour because I had one of those suckers in my hands. Genius. Unless you're really into Coke and tea and coffee, just nah, in which case it doesn't work. I've been trying to sell this one to Shannon forever. Shannon, I wasn't talking directly to you. You good. Relationships. I'm going to put down my tea because I'm going to talk with my hands. We are all imperfect. All humans are idiots. I have 3 rules of existence. They're consistent. They're always true. Life sucks. Assume this walking in, you will never be disappointed. Either you are correct, you feel secure in the world, and you are mildly disappointed, but you got what you were expecting. Or you are surprised because the world got better. Now, I'm not saying every day is a nuclear holocaust. Don't sell yourself short. It just sucks a little, okay? And some days the suck is greater. Rule number 2, everything happens for a reason. You just don't, yeah, no worries, Shannon. You just don't know what the reason is. And that's okay. But that translates to, it'll all be okay in the morning. Just which morning? In my life, it has gotten better. You caught me saying how I was sure I wasn't wanted for a long time. Like many of us were sure we were not wanted for a long time. I know I'm wanted now. We also have this rule number 3 that factors into this. Okay, so rule number 1, life sucks, assume this walking in. Rule number 2, it'll all be okay in the morning. We just don't know which morning. Rule number 3 is all humans are idiots. Every single one, ever, ever, ever. Now in my world, that includes Muhammad, that includes saints, that includes Buddha, that includes Jesus, that includes Bill Gates and Mother Teresa and the priests from the Mayan temples way back when. We are all idiots. Every tutor you've ever had some area where they were an idiot. Congratulations, it's the great leveler. But there's reasons for this. Don't take it personally. It's cool. Because see, all of these idiots out there, they still did stuff with their lives. They still became amazing, even though they were idiots. So that means if you and I are idiots too, maybe there's a chance. Now again, context on this. I was born with a womb, with all of the fun things that go along with it. So that means that every month I have a minimum of 3 personalities because my hormones are going to shift at least 3 times. There's the progesterone peak, the estrogen peak, and then the progesterone and estrogen valley. And this is science. This isn't anything that we can really get away from. Everyone's going to have slightly different patterns, but everyone who was born with a womb is going to experience at least 3 personalities a month due to their hormones. And likewise, anyone who is born with a penis, and they know how to use it. Ha ha. Shannon says bitch mode, uncontrollable no matter how hard we try. And it's not always bitchy. Sometimes it's just different. Like some days I am so reliable. Like you ask me to do anything, I got it. That is not true all the time. Some days, I swear to God, this brain just doesn't, it's not sticky. And I will know when it's happening. I'll look at people and say, hold on, pause, repeat that. I don't have any idea what you just said. Like I know I'm rolling no higher than a 10. Maybe I've got a modifier, to use some funny D&D terms. Maybe I've got a modifier on this of some kind. But like really, I know I'm not going to do perfect. So can you help me out a little extra? Remember that asking nicely thing we talked about before. And then you take it a step further. I'm just checking my time to make sure I'm a good girl. I am 4:24. Woo. And I'm a good girl is a phrase that has no meaning. I actually don't really use that with it. I never refer to the kids as bad boys or bad girls ever, ever, ever. I won't do that with my animals either, because that who's a bad boy? Who's a bad girl? I don't want that term to ever apply to anyone in my house. Ew. So when I use the term, I'm a good girl, it makes me feel better. You remember how I said, keep things around that make you happy, that help you smile. So I say shit like that. But I am making sure I'm on time for the class. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. When we are born with a penis, one of the problems that we have once we hit puberty is there's enough blood flow in the human body for one head at a time, and you can't power them both. You don't have enough juice. So if this sucker down here is powered up, then everything above the hippocampus is at least partly powered down. And it changes from day to day how that works. And again, it's tied into hormones. So by the way, the grand leveler is that you are going to be an idiot sometimes, and it's actually out of your control. You don't have to feel like a failure in life. You're a human being. Cool. In relationships, that's all the more real, because if you're going to be in a good, solid relationship, you are going to bring all of you to the table, and you are going to be all of yourself with someone else. That means that some days you are an idiot. And I would love to be able to provide anyone in a relationship ever with a dumb girl and or dumb boy shirt, because all of us have a dumb girl, dumb boy day. And I get both. And some of us do. My dumb boy, I want to be right. I want to be right. I want to be right. I'm familiar. I know where that comes from. It's cool. Girls have it too. I don't have that one. I have the boy one. It's cool. And I don't really have the, God, she's flirting with you. Now you'll never want me again, and I hate you. I don't have that. I do have the girl version of, I'm probably not good enough for you anyway. So if you want someone else, you're obviously unhappy with me. I hear myself talking. If I could put on a dumb girl shirt every time I hear that inner monologue, my life would be so much easier. And I know I'm not alone in that. If everyone who got into a relationship could admit when they were less than on point, their partner could be like, oh, baby, it's my turn to clean up after you. I get it. It's cool. Third category, though, we should have that dumb girl, dumb boy shirt, but we also need the ass hat. It has two butt cheeks right here, and I've seen them. I need to buy one, because when I have the ass hat, and I do, you just can't always see it sometimes, I show up 5 minutes late with nothing I was supposed to have and a half-cocked plan on how to fix it. Shannon, thank you for your patience with me on the times when I have worn the ass hat. I know you've cleaned up after that a few times. Deeply appreciative. And hear this, I show up saying, I'm sorry. I know I'm imperfect. This is the day I get to have it proved to me. Here's what I have done. Here's what I don't have done. Help me in the 11th hour with no warning, please. Hi, baby, I love you. Mwah! That's one of my nieces. I love her. So if you guys are really hearing this, it's funny because all of us are in the same boat. I know every single one of you guys have had this moment where you know you're going to disappoint everybody in the room who's supposed to be counting on you. Or maybe they could possibly have realistic expectations if you nicely ask. And then, I started to say this a second ago, a key point that goes along with this is gratitude. Yes, I'm an ass. I'm wearing the ass hat. If I need your help, and everybody's ass hat is a little bit different. But if I manage to, I love how Shannon's laughing so hard. I'm assuming it's in no small part because she's sitting there with her daughter, but also it's me. Yes. Oh no, I can't read your lips. You have to type. Or you can unmute. I don't care, but I don't know. Gratitude. Gratitude is such an important part of it because if someone's covering for me because all of a sudden my mental arm stopped working and I'm suddenly stuck with just a lefty in my own head, wrestling with Adawill a bit. Dude, me too. I feel you. And the only reason the kids aren't in here is because Charlie's here. And he dropped everything to come cover my ass this afternoon. And again, he's going to get gratitude for that. Regardless of anything that went before with that, I still want to say thank you. I still want my life to be better afterwards, even if this morning was really rough. I still want to control my attention. And it's hard. And I think we all know that it's hard. But there's very few moments where you and me and everyone that we know is going to look at each of our independent mirrors and go, okay, I sucked today, but I did my best and I know it. Everyone we know has recommended these words. Everyone we know, we kind of hope that they say that to themselves at some point. How many times this week have we said this to ourselves? Yeah. Crickets ensue every time. And hopefully it's filled with giggles because we're all laughing about how, yes, imperfect we are. Remember how I started this whole conversation by talking about trust? That we act like we have to either trust someone completely with our kids and our bank accounts and everything else, or we can't trust them at all because we did and they disappointed us. Category 3, trust someone according to their nature. The scorpion's going to stab the frog on the head if it's splashing and everything around it is going like this. Hey, look, I bounced the camera. Sorry. It's going to happen. It's not up for debate. And if the whole world for you or for me feels like it's going like this and bouncing the camera, we're going to feel unsettled. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to miss. When I was talking about trusting people according to their nature, how many of y'all realized I was talking about trusting yourself? Trusting yourself is hard. Trusting yourself means getting to know you the same way that you would a lover or a friend. It means taking yourself out on dates and earning your trust. It means taking good care of yourself so that you're worthy of your trust. Our own version of our perfect is harder than others' version of perfect on us. A lot of times, yeah. Although some people's version of what perfect looks like is really absurd. It's not sustainable in the real world, and I don't know why anybody tries to use that as an expectation or logical reality. the word itself is useless in the human language unless you recognize that true perfection in this world, the kind you can actually see, has to do with flaws. It has to do with who has what flaws and how they deal with them. It has to do with how you stand up when you're done being flawed at the end of the day. True perfect in this world, not perfect pitch. It's as close as you can get. And sometimes perfect pitch is attained by accident. When I first went in and tried to sing in a recording studio, I actually got really mad at everybody because when I had to wait for everyone else to go first. And they finally let me go in to sing. And when they did, they put me behind the mic, and then everyone who was not in the little, like, it's like a solitary confinement chamber that's covered in soundproofing. It's actually very disturbing. It's like a padded telephone booth. So I'm locked in this room by myself, and everybody else has me start singing into the microphone, and then they start getting together around something in the counter where they've got all of the doohickeys and thingamabobs and screens and stuff. Please notice I am actually not at all in audio production, and I'm okay with that. I have enough areas of expertise. But so they're fiddling around with this bank of machinery, and everyone starts staring at a screen and laughing at me while I'm stuck in this box. And they're looking at the counter and they're going, "Whoa, ha, look at, ha." And I said, "What's going on, guys?" And they're like, "No, keep singing." I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "No, stop, okay? Just do it again, sing the same thing." I'm like, "All right, fine, but someone's gonna tell me what's going on." So I sing again, and everybody starts laughing at me and pointing at the freaking counter again. They're not pointing at me even. I'm still stuck in my telephone booth, and I'm like, "What is going on?" They said, "Your pitch is so perfect that the line that goes whenever you're off pitch isn't moving. And you were just coughing out here like your lungs were about to fall out your face. But when you went in and sang, your pitch was so perfect, the line didn't move." I did it by accident. I didn't even know I was doing it. So when everybody was sitting around in awe and respect, and they were impressed, I sat there going, "Why are they laughing at me? Why are they pointing at me? Why are they treating me like a circus monkey?" Now, you guys are probably going to take at least part of this as bragging, but please realize, one, I had no idea I was doing it. How many people who you've been impressed by probably had no idea that they were getting close to perfection at the time? Circus monkey. Me too, right? Sorry, that was Shannon's comment. But the thing about being a circus monkey in this case is that I didn't know it was happening, first of all. I didn't know how to fix it. Was anything broke? I felt like something was broke. I wanted people to stop staring at me, or at least stop staring at the box and start staring at me. I didn't know what was going on, you know? And chances are very good that at some point when you have been perfect, everyone started standing around and staring at you and laughing and pointing at something that you had done. And it was not an insult at all. Doesn't that make life feel different? Nobody ever feels comfortable when a group of people start laughing regarding you, says Shannon. I will qualify that. If I can hear them laughing and it's right on cue after I said something funny, then it's cool. It's part of the reason I let myself be funny so much of the time because, you know, not a bad thing. Now, let me go ahead and actually take that and turn that into the next thing I'm going to say because it's important. Last night, I was giving a reading to someone I've never met, about someone I've never met. And I was able to tell that the girl in question was struggling with anxiety, real fears, like might never get truly over it ever, real fears. And I'm trying to explain to someone, again, who I've never met, on how to deal with that and how to navigate it in a way that he can be happy and comfortable with this amazing girl that he absolutely loves, who he can't, it's just, nothing's quite, how many times have we each lived that, right? So I'm explaining to this really sweet guy about how to manage to help bridge the gap on this trust. And it's not trust exactly. It's helping someone to relax, helping someone to not have their anxiety peak, helping someone to assume for once that even though they know for a fact they are not wanted this time, they are. It can happen, right? We all know better. We all know better than that. But he has to try and find a way to convince her or it won't work. Okay, so I will tell you what I told him. Laughter. Now I'm going to demonstrate this first, okay? I got to tell everybody on Saturday how much laughter is something, laughing with people is something I miss about being able to have group sessions. And at the risk of being redundant, I'm going to tell you what I told them. Okay. When we are charging our phones the way that I am right now, so that I don't run out of battery while I'm teaching you guys, there's this thing that we do. We take the head of the cord and we plug it into the phone, and I'm not going to go poke the phone again. I did that enough at the beginning of the video. And then we take the backside, the butt of the cord, and we put it into, you know, that plug that goes into the wall. And then we take that, whatever these things are called. I always forget what they're called. Charger block, wall adapter, like it just escapes my head sometimes. But you know, you take that thing that you put the butt of the cord into so you can plug it in. So I very calmly was hanging out with my friends, people I live with now, you know, hanging out with them, laughing with everybody. We're telling stories, we're taking turns. I just suddenly stop and I look at them. I'm a little spaced out. It's afternoon, it's evening. I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. And I very casually ask them, hey, anybody got a butt plug? Oddly enough, this story has managed to make every room I've ever been sitting in burst out laughing, and now it is officially the name among many people who I know and love. This is now called a butt plug, and it actually took me a minute or two to figure out why they were laughing so hard. And we all laughed hysterically now. It's funny, right? So because it's funny, you start laughing, right? And when you start laughing, you're breathing a lot and you're moving your body a lot. And that breathing increases the amount of oxygen flow to your brain. So your kepi works better, to use a Yiddish term. It's like kepi. Your kepi will start working better. And if your kepi is working better because of the oxygen, that's nothing, because at the same time, if you laugh with me, your chest, it feels this echo of the sound and the doing. And a lot of times it'll double you over. That increases your blood flow through your body. So your brain is much happier now because it's got oxygen and highly oxygenated, heavy blood flow, which your brain really enjoys, right? And then the act of laughing also creates an endorphin, a hormonal rush to your brain. So last night, I ended up explaining about how, yes, she's nervous, she's scared, she's justified, she's right, you're probably safe, you're probably fine, but how are you going to get her to relax enough to hear that? He's on his 20th try to first date. How is he going to relax her enough that she will allow that to happen? Now, I'm going to repeat something that I'm probably going to say a lot over the course of these. If I use any of my experience in my life that involves another person in my stories with you guys, you will notice there are no names, there are no distinguishing details, and there's not going to be if I can help it. I do not want that, but I want the parables. I want the lessons. So I do go ahead and tell these stories that involve other people. And if ever that crosses a line with anyone, I do my best to stop immediately. But I have been able to tell a story about someone in a room full of people in front of them, and no one in the room knew it involved them. because I am vague on purpose. Now, I do that out of respect for everyone in my life, and I want you to know that it is a show of respect. Unless they wanted it to, Shannon pointed out, right, if they wanted it to include their name, yes, give credit where credit is due, please. So in this case, I'm telling a story about someone who I've never met being in love with someone else who they've never met. If that guy ever happens to find this video, he doesn't have to admit it. No one has to know who it involves. It's cool. But what I will say is this. If he can get her laughing, her anxiety, her screaming anxiety, her nobody wants me anxiety, that is convinced he's dangerous or might be dangerous, or she'll disappoint him if he's not dangerous and let him down and he'll be gone. And we've all had that inner monologue at some point. It's incessant. Laughter stops it. The bitch in the back of your head, Robin Williams can kick her ass. I don't care if he's alive or dead. He can still kick her ass or his ass. Because if you're laughing hard enough, you can't beat yourself up as much. Ladies and gents, it's about that time. Let's be kinder to ourselves. I know, Shannon, I miss him too. He was awesome. Thankfully, and I want to say this because I've been very mad at Robin Williams. It recently came out with some information that I feel like people should know. Robin Williams had been diagnosed with an ongoing degenerative disease that would have caused his brain to stop working right in terrible ways. He did not lose hope and just skip out on all of us and leave us all heartbroken. He had something worse than a death sentence in front of him, and he knew it. And he was already degrading. I'm not saying it's okay that all of us lost him when we did. But suddenly I have a lot more understanding for what he was going through, and I hope you do too. He was like, he was a part of my dad. Like, my dad actually raised me going to see Robin Williams, so it was a huge part of my relationship with my dad. So when I lost him, I like lost my mind personally. Like, I'm getting all teary-eyed at the beginning of the video and the end of the video. We don't always know what goes on in the normal parts of their lives, nor should we, says Shannon. Yeah. And they just finally decided that it was worth it to finally share some of his peeves with the world so that people could get it a little bit more. And I'm personally very grateful. So like a moment of silence to someone who struggled very hard and chose his own way out on his terms. I cry every time I fucking talk about him. But no, funniness can take our anxiety and just lower it, lessen it. As we are all struggling with every single day, laugh. Laugh often. Laugh much. Because your brain will like you more if you do. Things will feel better, at least for a minute, if you do. And things are gonna get better. I know it doesn't feel like it right now. But everything does happen for a reason. And things will get better in the morning. We just don't know which morning. So if we can just hang in there, if we can just hang in there until we get to a point where we know that it's going to get better. We can see what the point of it is. We can see what the lesson is. Yeah, and we don't always get to choose when we know the reason why these things are happening, as Shannon just pointed out. We don't. Just because there's a reason for what's going on in our life, just because there was a reason why we lost Robin Williams. And for him, just because he chose his way out. Like, I would have loved to learn more about his condition, and I would have loved to be able to support him. If instead of choosing A or B or C, he'd chosen that answer D from earlier, just asked nicely for someone to cover your ass, you know? I would have loved to keep Robin Williams around for a while longer. And a lot of us, I think, are in that boat. So, hey, let's go ahead and apply that logic to us, to our imperfect selves. I would rather I ask someone nicely for help. You guys hear that? I would rather that I ask someone nicely for help so that they can nicely agree, so that we can nicely get along. Wouldn't that be nice? So control your focus so that when you say, hey, can you help me with this real quick? It doesn't sound like that, because that didn't sound nice, did it? Hey, can you help me with this real quick? This, different. That different. That's all it was. Hey, can you help me with this real quick? It's all in the tone. I think that everything is going to be okay. But right now, I'm going to ask you guys if, hey, you can help me with this real quick. I've had a rough couple of days, and I swear to you, if I do not call this car dealer or car repair shop, I will not be able to live with myself. I have to get them before they close. So I'm going to sign off now, and hopefully you guys are cool with the fact that I'm imperfect too. And we're going to just have this class end a little bit early, okay? Next week, we are going to talk about literally anything that is kinder for me to live through for the week, I swear. Because if all of my lessons for you guys keep beating the crap out of me, I'm going to cry. I am thinking about adjusting this time so I can get more people here. If I could get comments of some kind. Anyone who watches this, here's your assignment. If you have finished this video, yeah, crying is healthy, Shannon, but it feels really gross. I like washing the windows, but there are times where I'd rather just let the windows be filthy and not have to cry right now. That's how I think of crying. It washes the windows of our soul. Anyway, I am going to ask for some minor homework from all of you. If when you finish this video, whenever you might watch it, if you could go to the new weekly class, see what the topic is. No, I haven't decided yet, so you don't get a peek yet. Sorry, no sneak peek in this video. And if you can tell me when the best times would be for y'all to come and join me, that would be awesome. I am going to pick some random time that's not necessarily within the dinner hour, and maybe it's after bedtime for the kids, or maybe it's during the day when the kids are at school, or maybe it's after 5 so that everyone in their workday world can check in afterwards. But I'd like people to actually be able to come to the class, because I rely on communication and conversation in my classes. And thank you, Shannon, for all of your input and your participation. I appreciate you. So if more people can come and play at the classes, I would prefer that. So with that said, if you can drop me a comment, and everybody else can think we're all crazy, that's cool. We're on the inside of this joke, okay? We're all on this inside joke together. So if y'all can all drop me a comment and tell me when is best for you around your schedule, and if you can come on a regular basis, I would love that. It would make me feel better if I have folks showing up now and not just watching me act like an idiot after the fact. This imperfect lady is signing off. I love you all, and I will talk with you soon. Okay? Bye. Maybe. Maybe. Bye, guys.